Part 45. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 441. Tao Ran was just ejected from the space. The various fragments of moves in her mind told her that what she experienced in the space was not a dream. In the space, she experienced a full 7 days of sleepless fighting, and when she looked at the time, it turned out that only 1 day had passed. And those faces with tears and blood are still vivid in my mind. Her mind was a little confused, so she sat down. This opportunity belonged to Yoon 11, so why wasn't it given to her? And she really wanted to stick to her heart, but being controlled by Elizabeth, what ability did she have to resist now? What a headache. Tao Ran walked out of the ruins absent-mindedly, but at this moment, a voice called out to her. Tao Ran. She subconsciously turned around and saw a strange monk standing opposite. All in black. Look at the gold thread embroidery on his body, it is the sword sect's robe. Is this what senior brother said, the sword sect monk Menu who has been looking for Tao Buran everywhere these days? Tao Ran? Did he call himself Tao Ran? Tao Ran's heart beat wildly, and he had a sense of anticipation. But not sure. She forced herself to calm down quickly. The person I am now is dressed like Yoon 11. Who are you looking for? Tao Nai, the man said. Or Tao Ran. Otherwise it's my junior sister. Where's Tao Ran? What does it have to do with you? I called you Tao Ran, why did you look back? This place is empty and deserted. I was just frightened when you suddenly made a sound. What's so strange about that? Tao Ran became wary. It's you, who are you? Tao Ran grasped the sword in his hand a little tighter. I am the one who has an appointment with Tao Ran. I have an appointment with her to meet in this world. Having said this, there is no need to test anymore. Presumably, it was him who said such words in front of Lu Rui that made Lu Rui think that this person was strange. Looking at this person again, those dark, deep and bottomless eyes were not the same person who led him to this world. Tao Ran's sword was loosened by 2 points. The person she had been waiting for several years appeared. Tao Ran believed him in his heart. Because this world was completely different from the previous ones, she seemed to have found a way out of Elizabeth's control. At this point, even though he hadn't revealed the purpose of his visit, Tao Ran was grateful. Why did you come just now? It took me a long time to find you. What do you call it? Call me Mr. Bai. How did you find me? Tao Ran looked at herself. No one in her sect knew her secret. It turns out that Tao Ran's previous method of using Tao Ran's name to find this person was still effective. Not only does Tao's name resemble her own, but her appearance also resembles her. It was indeed because of this that Mr. Bai quickly found her in this world. I secured a place for the sword sect to enter the secret realm. Since then, I have been looking for you. Almost all the people from your King Yun sect who entered the secret realm have been observed and followed by me. I saw Lu Rui's fraud. Then I was thinking, why did he cheat? Why does he need to help cover? Is there some silver here? Then I thought that it seemed that Tao Buran and He Yungzi had never appeared at the same time. Then, I started looking for He Yungzi. I heard you were coming in this direction, so I chased you. And from the first moment I saw you, I knew. Mr. Bai finally showed a slight expression, and his eyebrows were slightly curved. And his eyes were not only dark, but also had a hint of eerie red flashing through his pupils. When I see you, I know that you are not you. You are not Tao Heiran either. But you are the person I am looking for. Tao Ran opened his mouth. Sure enough, it was still exposed. Fortunately, it was not discovered by people from this world. Last time, one could tell at a glance that she was not Yoon 11's, but the remnant soul of the ancestor of the sect's secret realm. This person is unusual. Is it normal to be able to follow her through 2 worlds? Who are you exactly? You should have guessed that I was the one who stopped Elizabeth, the one who sealed her. He determined Tao ran, I sealed her, and she cursed me with her blood. Like her, I slept for hundreds of years. Now her ability is reviving, and similarly, I have awakened from my slumber. Then I discovered you. It's you who is helping her. Because of you, she recovered quickly and she can already open the illusion. There was a fierce look in the man's eyes. Tao Ran shook his head. I am not helping her. I would rather be sealed with her than take risks. I was originally thinking about whether to kill you while she is still weak and stop her plan. Elizabeth and I are old enemies, and I can capture her aura, so after I recovered some of my abilities, I found you in the previous world. I want to kill you. But I found that you are different from her. There is a thick golden light on you. And when you were doing the mission, you didn't resort to any means to achieve your goals. You kept the bottom line, didn't kill, obeyed the law, and didn't break the rules of the world. You had your principles. I can't kill you like this. And it is impossible for you to cooperate with Elizabeth. The only explanation is that you were manipulated and threatened by her, or you were deceived. So I decided to talk to you first. So if Tao Ran was Elizabeth's person in the last world, he would definitely tell the old witch about the note he left for her. According to Elizabeth's impulsive temperament, she will not sit still and wait for death, and will definitely use various means to fight back against him. He waited. All is calm. Tao Ran really chose the world of immortality, hiding it from the old witch. He was even more certain that Tao Ran was forced and had the intention to resist. After that, he caught Elizabeth's aura in this world of cultivating immortals, and then followed her. I know you have a lot of questions, let's talk about it here. If you want to know anything, just ask. The man just closed his eyes and felt it for a moment. When he opened his eyes again, he told Tao Ran that there was no one around for 100 miles. Tao Ran had just experienced the 7-day battle and couldn't stand any longer, so he transformed into a table, chairs, and tent and sat down. She poured Mr. Bai a cup of tea. She was more willing to trust this person than Elizabeth. She was indeed deceived by Elizabeth. Why this world? The level of spiritual energy in the world of cultivating immortals is different from ours. It is difficult for her to lock or monitor what you are doing. In the secret realm, it is equivalent to a double encryption lock, and she will know nothing about you. That's why I didn't come here until now. You. What do you want to talk about? Talk about cooperation, talk about rescue. Elizabeth is the big devil. Saving you will also save more innocent people. What kind of big devil? Selfish, greedy, those who follow me will prosper and those who go against me will perish. She is the leader of the vampire clan and has her own army. Because of her own ambition and desire to win, she has led the vampire clan to a complete path of no return. She blended into the royal family, she hooks up with powerful people, provokes wars, attempts to overthrow the human government, and wants to become a queen and rule the two races. You can imagine what kind of devil she is. Her abomination is definitely at least 10 times worse than you imagine. Times. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 442. Tao Ran couldn't even drink tea. She changed her drink and drank it all in one gulp. Doesn't she know Elizabeth's virtues? Every time she showed some dissatisfaction and opposition to her, she would definitely give herself a surprise. She is a person who cares about every detail and will retaliate for her anger. Although Mr. Bai's words may not be completely credible, they are definitely more true than Elizabeth's. She told me she doesn't drink human blood. Oh, yes. Her requirements for blood are very high. She does not directly suck human blood. She only kills people and uses human blood to nourish, seduce, and have fun. What she sucks must be purified and refined, preferably semen. Blood. She doesn't like ordinary people's blood. She has never spared even the blood of vampires. There was another moment of silence. That's the kind of person she is. You can't join in her misfortune. I believe you won't either. Mr. Bai looked Taoran up and down, and then said. The golden light on your body is so strong that she will definitely covet it. When she regains her strength, she will not let you go. You will be her most delicious meal. Taoran had no doubt about this. The image of Elizabeth swallowing her saliva while smelling the scent of her body appeared before her eyes. She had already coveted it for herself. She told me that her faith helped her recover. In fact, the power of faith can nourish the soul, transform energy, and change luck. The stronger a person's faith, the stronger his luck. Don't you think your luck is better in one world than in another? Especially here, it's reflected more vividly. Your opportunity is very good, right? Taoran nodded. It's really good. It's almost smooth sailing, and anything can be accomplished. She covets you, but she also expects you to do things for her. As long as you hang her with your faith and let her see your value, you will be safe. She will definitely be reluctant to touch you. So, there is no need to deliberately to avoid accumulating faith power. Before those faith powers are transformed, they are all yours, and they are all nourished by you. What Mr. Bai said is clear and logical. Taoran was also sizing him up secretly. What about you? Elizabeth said that the person who sealed her betrayed her for her property and power, so what is your identity? Are you a human or a vampire? I just want to say, it's not important. No matter who I am, I have to stop her and seal her. In the same way, I am willing to spend all my life to seal her. How can I covet her power and property? And only through her can you be liberated, so our goals are the same. Can't you kill her? I can't do it now. Because of her curse, I share the same destiny with her, and I am still very weak. It has taken a lot of strength for me to find you. And because of your help, Elizabeth recovered faster than me. So in a short time I can't kill her. Don't you want to know why I was threatened by her and used by her? If you seal her again, I may not survive. Is it because of the blood curse? You know. Yes. I'm already investigating this matter. If possible, I would like a few drops of your blood in reality. I will help you trace the origin and find out the reason why your ancestor was cursed. Let's see if she is lying or the truth. Taoran nodded. An expert in this world told me that there is only one restriction in my soul. So I suspect that Elizabeth is the one who put the curse on my ancestor. It would be more convenient that way. You have two ways to survive. One is to force or lure Elizabeth to take the initiative to break the curse for you. The other is to completely destroy her. Not to seal her, but to make her soul fly away and destroy her. Completely strangulated. Then, your curse can be completely broken. Mr. Bai poured a glass of wine by himself. But no matter what it is, we can have a greater chance of winning together. This is the purpose of me looking for you. You are the key to Elizabeth's recovery at the moment, and many of your decisions are crucial. What should I do? Tell me. She decides whether to do it or not. First of all, you must firmly grasp the power of your faith. How to be sure? Strong. Strengthen yourself. Including your real body and your own soul. When he said this, Taoran almost dropped his defense against Mr. Bai. These words are exactly the same as what Patriarch Changfeng said. It's really for her own good. Mr. Bai, every time you meet Elizabeth, in the fantasy world you enter, your abilities are actually based on your true body. The stronger your true body is, the stronger you will be in the fantasy world. You have to secretly accumulate strength. I don't expect you to be able to meet Elizabeth one day fight, but at least she must not let her kill you with just the move of her fingers, just like squeezing an insect to death, so that we can have a chance when we join forces. So, when you go back, make a request to her and say that you need more rest time after completing the task. Use that time to strengthen your body and quietly refine your soul. The cultivation effect in the main world will not be bad. Will she find out? Don't worry. Your country is far away from her, and her power can't reach you yet. And she is busy recovering her strength, so she can't control you for the time being. If you still don't worry, put a ban on it. The world should learn something. Although spiritual energy in the real world is weak, it is still somewhat useful. She can't find it? Tao Ran filled Mr. Bai's glass with wine. It's a great way to extend your rest time. It stands to reason that her death date in the curse is not far away, and extending this time can be regarded as her first step to break the curse. When you face her in the future, don't contradict her, pretend to be a snake, and relax her vigilance towards you. When choosing a world, you can also go to higher level worlds. In those worlds, she cannot observe or control you at all. You learn skills and strengthen yourself in each world. One day, when we are all strong enough, we can take advantage of her when she is not prepared and attack her together, and she will be able to do nothing. Tao Ran, is there any way I can contact you? Mr. Bai, in this world, I am Jian's own menu. You can come to me at any time. After you go back, to save your life, you must not reveal that you have seen me. So don't come to me, if needed, I will find you. Are you doing a mission too? Tao Ran was surprised. If you don't do the task, how can you let me take over your body willingly? Mr. Bai said with grievance. As noble as he has been reduced to an ordinary task worker. How can he not feel aggrieved? It was the first time he met a tasker, and this tasker was still an ally and could still help him. Tao Ran suddenly felt much more cheerful. Why are you laughing? Smile, we are both fallen people from the end of the world, and I would like to thank Mr. Bai for his hard work in finding me. Tao Ran smiled and toasted him with a glass of wine. Mr. Bai glanced at her lightly, but there was still no wave on his face. I don't expect you to repay the kindness, I just hope that you can eliminate demons and defend the law with the same attitude in this world in the future. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 443. Mr. Bai's and Tao Ran's tasks are somewhat similar. His missionary, Menu, is a rookie disciple of the sword section. His pain point happened to be after the death of Yun 11 and Lu Yun. His experience made Tao Ran grit his back molars so hard. In the plot, when Menu had a promising future, he encountered a battle between Taoists and demons. As one of the 8 major sects of the Dao sect, the Jian sect is fighting at the forefront like the Qingyun sect. After Liu Yun's death, the actual controller of the Qingyun sect became the newly promoted god Renping. At that time, the Qingyun sect had only one incarnation, and the strongest Taoist sect in the entire continent was undoubtedly the Sword sect. Jian Zone replaced Qingyun sect and became the main force of Dao sect on the battlefield. During a brief truce, Renping, who had just taken over as the head of the Qingyun sect, visited the Sword sect. Ji-Yuan originally thought that he was here to show his goodwill and discuss cooperation, but he never expected that Renping was here to seek friendship between Qin and Jin. The one he wants to marry is Hongling. At that time, Hongling was furious because Lu Yunwei and Yun 11 died without hesitation. When they were alive, she couldn't stop them from being together. When they died, there was still no one to stop them. What about after death? Hongling agreed to Renping's marriage proposal. Because Renping promised that as long as she gets married, Lu Yun and Yun 11 will not be buried together, nor will they be on the same mountain again. She could even decide where their bones would be buried. Gun agreed to the marriage for the sake of the long-term alliance. Later, Lu Yun's bones were buried in Tianjian Peak. But Yun 11's body was restrained by Hongling and was thrown to a cape thousands of miles away. Let these two people have to be separated by thousands of miles after death, on the top of a mountain and on the bottom of the sea, never to meet again. Hongling was satisfied. However, who could have imagined that not long after, the originally impregnable Jian zone would suddenly be overthrown by the demon sect's internal and external cooperation. The sword sect was bleeding like a river, and the strongest sect of the 8 sects was killed for 3 days. The leader Gun and others all died. The team led by Menu asked King Yun sect Renping for help as soon as the accident happened. He finally led his brothers to fight until the last moment, and held back Yu Feng, the demon master who came to kill him. Finally, Renping he came to rescue him. But Renping pointed his sword at Hongling and threatened him to let Yu Feng go, otherwise he would kill Hongling. Hongling begged, Menu and the others had no choice but to agree. Yu Feng let go, but Renping did not let Hongling go. He had the highest cultivation level among those present, so when he personally put the knife into Hongling's body from behind, who could stop him? Only then did Menu and the others know that Renping was the one who colluded with the demon sect to open the Jian sect's protective formation, and that the culprit who poisoned the leader and others was also Renping. Moreover, Renping had already used his status as the son-in-law of Jian Zone to infiltrate people from the demon sect into Jian Zone. When questioned, Renping kept saying that he just wanted to unify the world and eliminate the distinction between Tao and demons. He is not guilty, he is meritorious. Menu watched helplessly as the innocent Jian sect was wiped out and all the brothers died tragically. And he himself eventually died under Renping's sword. His wish is to change all that. Stop Renping, save the sect, and if possible, prevent the war. Such a story made Tao Ran want to explode on the spot. This Renping is crazy. A madman with no bottom line for rights. The scumbag who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors, he is the real devil. Having killed so many people, we can't let him die easily. That would be too easy on him. The best thing is to extract his soul bit by bit and whip him. The best thing is that it is completely opposite to the plot in which he dominates the world. In this life, he is completely reduced to a dog. However, some people and some things are really destined by God. Even without him, Hongling and Renping would still have intersections, and they were still husband and wife in the plot. And Hongling is indeed nothing. Yun 11 is already miserable enough, and he will be bullied by her even after he dies. No matter which time it was, she would never let Yun 11 go. In Menyu's memory, where is Yan Yan? What happened to her later? Like her name, she is just Renping's confidant, and her weight in Renping's heart is probably as ethereal as smoke. Tao Ran glanced at Mr. Bai and said, "Let's be direct." Mr. Bai in front of him straightened his back even though he was sitting on a stone, holding the wine cup between his fingers, looking like a refined guest. Yan Yan, after being coaxed by Renping, willingly became Renping's harem and his concubine. She is devoted to him. I was speechless. Such a self-contemptuous mentality is something Daoran cannot understand. So, there's a lot of overlap in our missions. Indeed, Mr. Bai came and touched Tao Ran's glass. Wish you a happy first cooperation. So, what's your plan? The corners of Mr. Bai's eyes rose slightly. My current plan is to observe your plan from a distance. Mr. Bai did not lie. Since Tao Ran was already sharpening his skills here, he naturally wanted to see Tao Ran's abilities up close. In the previous world, most of her methods relied on the police, but in this world, where the jungle prevails, there are not so many rules, and it all depends on her personal ability. He also wanted to take a closer look at the person chosen by Elizabeth. Don't worry, if necessary, I can cooperate with you and escort you. We will not fail in this mission. So, do you want to go with me next? Chaoran was willing. First, I hope it's easier. The second reason is that what she has to do next may be too much. She does need help. Third, I want to know more about him and Elizabeth. I've always liked to be alone. Then you still ask for cooperation. Chaoran couldn't help but curse. Besides, you and I are from different sects, so there is no need to go together and make people think too much. How can I contact you? Mr. Bai threw a machine bird over. If you want to find me, release this bird and I will find you. He stood up. If there's nothing else, let's just say goodbye. Wait a minute. Chaoran stretched out his arm and there was a bright red blood mole on his finger. This is the reward Elizabeth gave me. She said that if I pinch the bloody mole, I can learn her skills. Can this thing be used? Is it harmful? Does it need to be removed? Mr. Bai stretched out his fingertips and touched the blood mole. You can learn. Your life is in her hands, what are you afraid of? He stroked his completely wrinkle-free robe. She gives you sweet things, so you continue. The more you learn her skills, the better. The more you learn, the fewer tricks she will use to attack you in the future. It doesn't matter. After that, Mr. Bai took his leave. There are still more than 50 days, and we will meet again. Chaoran also took the time to get up and leave. Let go of the bloody mole in advance and talk about it after leaving the secret realm. She is now. After thinking about it, she used the communication talisman to contact Lu Rui to confirm his location. Half a day later, she found Lu Rui. This guy isn't far off. The reason why Chaoran contacted him was because he sent a message saying that he had followed something. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 444. 2 days ago, Chaoran sensed through the butterfly hairpin that Renping suddenly changed his walking direction, so he sent a message to Lu Rui to follow her in the direction she pointed. Lu Rui found Renping, and sure enough, this guy had gotten rid of Yan Yan. Lu Rui had ice muscles in his hand, so he disguised himself as a casual cultivator and followed Renping from a distance. His cultivation level is almost the highest among all the monks in the secret realm. Who can track him? Finally, he found Renping having a happy conversation with a demon cultivator in a hidden valley. The two of them were not just acquaintances, but as close as old friends. And the two of them whispered together for half an hour. The demon cultivator was also sneaky and clearly sneaky when he left. What's even more incredible is that a day later, the two met again. This time, the two of them toasted and drank together to celebrate something. The Qingyuan sect had long suspected that Renping was involved with the demon section. This was considered evidence, so Lu Rui used a photo stone to take photos of the two private meetings between the two. Chaoran looked at the image stone and saw that the magician was Lu Tai. Ah! We met twice in 2 days, and even talked at night and celebrated. What else could it be if it wasn't a conspiracy? That's it. However, Chaoran was not satisfied with the fact that there was only a shadow stone. It feels even more uncomfortable to know that the other party is plotting, but not to know what the other party will do, let alone when the other party will take action. And Lu Rui is such a gentleman, and the things he photographed are obviously not of sufficient weight. Lu Rui, that's it? Chaoran patted Lu Rui on the shoulder and said, "Senior brother, you should continue to look for opportunities." The rest was up to her. The method might not look good. She was afraid of scaring Lu Rui and ruining his image as a junior sister. Are you unhappy with me? How could it be? Chaoran smiled at him. I have already received a big opportunity. If you don't want to drag me down too far, just go quickly. Just leave, but Lu Rui was stopped by Chaoran again. Senior brother, give me the ice-refined muscles on your body too. Don't you already have one? There's no such thing as too much of a good thing. Come on. After Lu Rui disguised himself several times in the past few days, he was shocked to realize how partial his master really was. Such a good thing is a net bargain for junior sister. He left with a groan. For the next period of time, Chaoran was neither Yun 11 nor Chaoran, so she simply arranged a new face. In the meantime, she also met Mr. Bai several times. But Mr. Bai can recognize her every time with just one glance. Once, she couldn't bear it anymore and stopped Mr. Bai and asked him why he could recognize her. He only replied with two words, talent. Once again, Chaoran saw a flash of strange red in his eyes. That night, with the moon hanging high in the sky, the demon cultivator Lu Tai and several other demon cultivators set up a fire to roast the spiritual sheep. A communication talisman flashed by. Lu Tai stretched out his hand to grab it, and laughed after hearing the message. The demon cultivators were in high spirits and drank jar after jar of spiritual wine. There was a noise in the distance. Lu Tai waved his hand, and the two demon cultivators went to the place to investigate. The remaining three continued drinking. With a flash of inspiration, I could see that lying on a few moon grasses not far away seemed to be the most precious spiritual purple insect produced in the grassland. The light purple wings flapped, bringing out fluorescence, which reflected a little purple light in the surrounding area. What luck! This thing is hard to come by. Who still wanted to drink? The three of them quickly stood up and grabbed the spiritual purple insects. The three of them were still joking, so they decided to compete to see who could catch more in the end. Lu Tai followed the three chubby spiritual insects for dozens of miles. He cast spells one after another and finally trapped the spiritual insects in place. He caught them several times by surprise, and all the spiritual insects were in his grasp, making it impossible to escape. He took out the jade jar and threw the spiritual insects out of his hand. However, except for some spiritual light, there were no spiritual insects. Lu Tai was shocked to realize that something was wrong, and immediately pulled away to leave, but found that the surrounding spiritual energy was not fluctuating. He was about to throw the rescue talisman, but the talisman was suppressed and did not fly out at all. Fallen into a trap. He knew that he had fallen into the trap laid out in advance. He was cut off and unable to call for help. No one came to save him. Someone is sneaky and capable. However, before he could finish his words, a burst of intensive swordsmanship came. The person in front of him was wearing a mask, and a long sword was attacking fiercely, making it difficult for him to parry. But that body shape was familiar to him. If you look closely at this sword technique, it is clearly the Qingyun sect Tianji and Feng sword technique. Ren Ping? You are Ren Ping, Lu Tai yelled in panic. You're crazy, what are you doing? Who else could it be besides Ren Ping? The only ones who know how to use Tianji and Feng swordsmanship are Ren Ping and He Yongzi in the secret realm, right? He Yongzi didn't know him at all, how could he come to kill him? And the figure and movements of the person in front of him are no wonder so familiar. So there is only one possibility, betrayal. The demon lord has recognized you as his adopted son, how dare you betray him? Are you surrendering to the Qingyun sect after all? Did Liu Yun order you to do this? What on earth are you going to do? Lu Tai yelled. But he sadly discovered that his late-stage Jindan cultivation should have crushed Ren Ping, but he had seriously underestimated Ren Ping. This guy's swordsmanship is far beyond what he thought. He didn't even survive 30 rounds under Ren Ping's sword. He didn't even ask the next question. He didn't even make any call for help or get any answer. He completely lost consciousness. And since then, he has never been able to open his eyes again. He didn't even know that after he lost consciousness, he was thrown into the spirit beast bag by Ren Ping and taken away like a dead dog. Lu Tai was Chaoran's mouth for revenge, and he was also the first person to carry out revenge. Chaoran followed Lu Tai for several days. It's just a coincidence that Lu Tai is the captain of his demon sect team, and their group of demon cultivators have been looking for opportunities in the sand for the past few days. Tao Ran followed along, but never found a particularly good opportunity to strike. Until they came to the grassland, a place rich in wood spiritual energy. She finally succeeded. After knocking Lu Tai unconscious and taking him to a hidden place, and opening the protective array, Tao Ran did to Lu Tai what he did to Yun 11 in the plot, soul searching. This was dishonorable and unethical, but Tao Ran did it without hesitation. There is nothing wrong with tit for tat. Even if she knew it, the thunder and punishment she would encounter in the future would definitely be doubled. And the reason why she dressed up as Renping was because after he came out of the secret realm and sensed that Lu Tai's soul was gone, his close relatives and others might have felt something about the cause of his death. By then, even if they had feelings, they would only be felt by Renping. It has nothing to do with her. However, after searching the soul, Tao Ran was angry again. Brute. She has no regrets. Renping had indeed hatched a plan. Part of his plan is the same as in the original plot, except that the protagonist has been replaced by him. Yan Yan, who does not have a wood spirit, is no longer qualified to participate in his big plan. He plans to act before the secret realm is closed. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 445. Tao Ran searched his soul and learned that, just like in the plot, Renping chose the remote cave for action. It is also a similar plot. He will send out a distress signal from Tianjian Peak and lead Yun 11 to the cave. At that time, Lu Tai will act like he is killing people and trying to get treasures. Afterwards, Lu Tai will throw the magic weapon in a hurry and seal the cave. Renping and Yun 11 will be trapped together. After being poisoned by the love poison released by Lu Tai, they become insane and live in despair. And all of this will also be photographed by the photo stones placed by Lu Tai. In this way, they were equivalent to controlling Yun 11. Yun 11 has only 3 options left, either to marry Renping, or to die, or, if the image stone is exposed to the world, Yun 11 will be embarrassed to see others, Lu Yun will be disgraced, and the entire King Yun sect will become a laughing stock in the world of immortal cultivation. Renping can accept all 3 results. 1 and 2 can help him become the true successor of Tianjian Peak. Even the third situation can weaken the strength of King Yun sect and provoke other Taoist sects to be dissatisfied with King Yun sect. No matter what the 3 results are, they can ruin Yun 11 and ruin Lu Yun's mood. As long as Liu Yun's mentality collapses, the King Yun sect's strength will be greatly reduced. The demon sect must fully cooperate with such a plan, so the team under Lu Tai are actually people waiting to be arranged to help Renping in his mission. Lu Tai planned this incident when he met Renping twice. Tao Ran released the machine bird. After searching the soul, she discovered that Lu Tai had a superior. Those bad ideas are all due to that person. Mr. Bai arrived quickly. Tao Ran, this time, you can't just sit back and observe. If you don't go out and help Menu get revenge, I think he will be very dissatisfied with your mission later. It turns out that Lu Tai's superior is none other than Yu Feng, the master of the demon sect, who Menu managed to hold hostage in the plot, but finally exchanged him for Hong Ling, leading to the loss of everything. Soul Search found out that Yu Feng, the demon lord, is very important. Demon Lord Yu Xian is very protective of his son and rarely lets him appear in public. Even this time, Yu Feng changed his name to Feng Yu and followed the demon sect team without being noticeable. His cultivation level is not bad and he is already in the late stage of Jindan. This time, it was Lu Tai who communicated on the surface, but the actual leader behind the scenes was Yu Feng. And since Yu Feng is still an important figure in Menyu's story, there is no reason for Mr. Bai to just watch. Later, Mr. Bai had a piece of ice to train his muscles. Tao Ran smiled, I feel sorry for you. From now on, you will be Lu Tai for the time being. As a reward, Lu Tai's storage ring will be yours. Every time Taoran calls on Lu Rui, he feels more or less guilty, so compared to Lu Rui, Mr. Bai is obviously a better candidate for acting. Mr. Bai, why should I listen to you, or just pretending to be trash? This secret realm is isolated from the outside world. It is difficult for the outside world to know about burning, killing, looting, traps, and abductions. This is still a secret realm of the Golden Core. Only the Golden Core can enter. Big bosses above the Golden Core cannot enter, so there are some things here that they will never be able to do. Qing Dynasty, this place was only opened once every 50 years. In the past 50 years, many things have been destroyed and no one can trace them. Therefore, there is no such store after passing through this village. It is natural to seize such a good opportunity. And this is how Yun 11 was tricked by them. It was a debt, and they had to pay it back. I will do this whether you help me or not. But since you are the first to seek cooperation, I think you will be willing to take action. Just to show your sincerity, right? I have to explain it in the future. Just say a few words. It's very verbose. Just agree, Taoran is already very satisfied. But Mr. Bai threw the piece of ice muscle back in disgust. He smelled Lu Rui's breath above. I don't need this kind of thing. You can disguise yourself. Talent. Taoran gave him a thumbs up. Getting ready to leave, she backed away and said, Mr. Bai, you should also study how to use Lu Tai's magic weapons and monsters. In addition, she put on the spirit sword. In addition, after you disguise Lu Tai, remember to dispose of Lu Tai's body and don't call anyone. Found. This body may be useful later. You can think of a way to see where to put it? I'd like to trouble you again and clean up the scene. I have something to do, so I'll go first. After that, Taoran and her spirit sword disappeared with a swish. Mr. Bai's face twitched slightly. Is this the main reason why she wants his help? She doesn't want to deal with this body. Let him deal with the aftermath. Are corpses still useful? It cannot be disposed of at will. It cannot be buried or thrown away. So you can only carry it with you? Mr. Bai looked disgusted. As noble as he is, he wants to carry a dead body with him? No wonder he runs so fast. This person is so deceitful. Time flies by quickly, and in the blink of an eye, the secret realm will be closed in less than 3 days. In the past 2 months, Yan Yan has been looking for Renping almost all the time. It is difficult for her to advance in cultivation, and now she just wants to hold on to her senior brother. She saw the trip to the secret realm as a way to bind her senior brother. For this, she prepared good medicine. But everything is ready, all I need is my senior brother. It's not that she hasn't found her senior brother in the past 2 months, it's just that every time she found him, she would be dumped again within half a day. There were only 2 days left, and she was almost crying. After she got out, it would be even harder for her to get her senior brother to take the bait. You should use some means, Baofu, a good friend Yan Yan just made yesterday, advised. Only if you try your best, you will not regret it in the future. I really tried my best. Where have you been? Baofu glanced at her. Not enough. What can you do? It has been spread throughout the secret realm that your senior brother likes Yun 11, Tao, or else, he just doesn't like you. If I were you, the more this happens, the more I would fight for it. It's easy to say, you think I don't want to. Then do it. If he likes Yun 11, dress up as Yun 11. First, cook the rice. Then you leave the evidence. If he doesn't marry you, you go to the master's door to expose him. Doesn't your master owe your family a favor? He will definitely make the decision for you. Then, your senior brother will be yours. You are the final winner, right? Everything depends only on the results. Who cares how you got them? If your senior brother wants to inherit, he can only accept it obediently. Most marriages in the world are based on marriage first and love second. As time goes by, feelings develop. After he has a child, no matter how much he thinks about others, he will have to be favored by others. Right? But, I do think so. I can imitate my senior sister's demeanor, breath, and movements, but how can I imitate her face? My senior brother is not blind. I can definitely see it at a glance. I have something that can help you. Baofu turned the storage ring hesitantly. That is. Just what? It's just a bit expensive. I don't have anything else, but the spirit stone is enough. Then, I'll just do it. Baofu took out the ice muscle training he got back from Lu Rui. Baofu, revenge. She was Tao Ran who came to take revenge. She came here to dig a hole for Renping. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 446. Tao Ran reluctantly made a fortune. Yan Yan has a family background and is a really rich woman. She spent a large amount of spiritual stones and a lot of good things in exchange for ice muscle training that she had never seen before. Baofu told Yan Yan that this was the most valuable thing her master gave her before his death. If she had no support from the sect and lacked spiritual stones, she would never be able to sell it. Yan Yan had no doubt about him and was completely immersed in the joy of shaping her face into Yun 11. She smiled brightly but also ferociously. Do you know? What I hate the most is He Yungzi's face. This face makes the two most important men in my life, my master and my senior brother, so confused. If it weren't for this face, what would have happened? Okay. They are all mine. I really want to ruin this face. Tao Ran looked at her calmly. Because He Yungzi was loved by others, he destroyed them and cut their skin? You are the one who is really shameless, right? And I'm sorry, even without Yungzi, they wouldn't be able to take your turn. Tao Ran put away the spiritual stones and treasures he had obtained. Think of these as rent for ice training, and play with her for 2 days. Yan Yan has been taken away by Tao Ran unknowingly for the past 2 days. Right now, they are getting closer and closer to the cave where Renping designed Yun 11. Tao Ran looked at the time and just waited for Renping to take action. At 3/4 noon, a dark purple signal bomb was launched in the south on time. Time has not changed. That means the plan went well. It shows that Lu Tai, played by Mr. Bai, was not discovered and successfully gained Renping's trust. Yan Yan was dumbfounded when he saw the signal flare. That's the signal from our Tianjian peak. It's my senior brother. Has something happened to my senior brother? Baofu, who else could it be besides your senior brother? I saw your senior sister and Lu Rui together the day before yesterday. And her magic power is so high, how could something happen? Yan Yan was really anxious, wishing she could teleport there. Don't worry yet. We're very lucky. We're quite close to them. We'll be there in a quarter of an hour at most. Sister Fu, you must help me. Your cultivation level is higher than mine. If I can't save my senior brother, I'll have to rely on you. The Baofu played by Tao Ran has a cultivation level after the golden elixir, and is already a master in the entire secret realm. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, your senior brother will be fine. Baofu was very amused and pulled Yan Yan onto his faster and more stable spirit sword. I tell you, you should be smarter later. If your senior brother is alone, this is your good opportunity. Your senior sister Yun 11 and Lu Rui have gone north, and they will definitely not be able to get here so quickly. We must be the first to arrive. If it's not a big deal later, I'll help you get a chance to be a hero to save the beauty. You can pay attention to yourself and take action when it's time to do so. I'll help you look out and make sure no one disturbs you. Sister Fu, you are really my good sister. If I have good things in the future, I will definitely not forget to give you a share. Tao Ran smiled coldly again. If she was really a good sister, knowing that what Baofu needed most now was the protection of a powerful sect, why didn't she mention helping her enter the Qingyun sect from the beginning to the end? You'd better take care of yourself first. I suggest you disguise yourself as Yun 11 first. After all, it only takes one breath to take off the ice to refine your muscles, but it will take a long time to knead it into your face. Be prepared, there is no opportunity waiting for you. Yeah. I'll listen to you. The two arrived quickly. Yan Yan was about to rush towards the cave. After taking a step, he came back and pulled Baofu. Sister, please go ahead and help me find out. There were sounds of fighting in the cave. Listening to the voices, there are only two people. Very good, there are only two of them. Don't worry, in the late stage of my golden core, there are not many people in the secret realm who can match me. Yan Yan nodded repeatedly. We will rush in together later. When I am fighting with the opponent, I will lure him away. You don't need to teach me what you want to do, right? Tao Ran gave Yan Yan another voice-changing pill to help her adjust her voice. Tao Ran was quite satisfied with her appearance, she was already 90% similar. But as soon as Yan Yan opened her mouth, her secret was exposed again. Senior brother, You are He Yungzi now, don't be like a senior brother. Tao Ran's head hurt, this pig teammate was really difficult to lead. Come in later, remember to imitate He Yungzi's tone. Don't let Ren Ping see the loophole at a glance. Yan Yan nodded anxiously again. She looked at herself again with a water mirror and confirmed that it was Yun 11's perfect face, and then rushed into the cave with Baofu. When Ren Ping saw that the person he had longed for was his senior sister Yun 11, who rushed in. His senior sister came so quickly, his heart broke. Soon, this proud senior sister will be his woman and surrender to him. He immediately winked at the masked Lu Tai opposite him several times, indicating that he could start taking action. Baofu held a long spear in his hand and opened up the entangled swords between Lu Tai and Ren Ping Zheng, and shouted, "Who are you? You are so sneaky that you don't dare to see people face to face. What does it have to do with you?" Lu Tai and Tao Ran fought together. I have to say that although Mr. Bai didn't show his face, his current aura, inside and out, was very similar to Lu Tai's. Girl, don't talk nonsense with him. This person's skills are weird, I'm afraid he has practiced magic skills. Ren Ping opened his mouth to remind him, and then coughed rapidly, as if he was injured. Master, junior brother, how are you? Yan Yan looked worried and supported Ren Ping. Ren Ping was held in the arms of his senior sister, and he was astonished with joy. He was just waiting for Lu Tai to drive away the outsider, and then quickly released the top magic medicine of the demon sect and sealed the cave that had been placed long ago. Open your mouth. Yan Yan followed Yun 11's example and took out a pill. She tried to stay calm on her face, but her heart was about to jump out of her throat. The opportunity God gave her was great. She was able to drug her senior brother so smoothly. Senior brother, I'm sorry. Ren Ping didn't know it was a scam. He just thought that what his senior sister gave him was medicine for wounding. He opened his mouth and swallowed it without saying a word. At the same time, he winked at Lu Tai. Over there, Lu Tai received the signal and suddenly shouted 3 times in succession. He used his strength to vacate the cave, and Baofu, who was following him, also chased him out. Lu Tai suddenly turned back and threw something in his hand. Baofu bent down and dodged, and the object flew straight into the cave, and then a puff of light smoke instantly rose from the cave. And Lu Tai has also activated a restriction. Black ripples flashed across the entrance of the cave, and the entire cave was sealed, directly cut off from the outside world. Chao Ran and Mr. Bai also stopped. The two looked at each other, and Mr. Bai took off the mask from his face. Chao Ran clicked his tongue, thinking that his talent was really good. The face under the mask looked exactly like Lutai's. No wonder Ren Ping was deceived. Chao Ran breathed a sigh of relief. All the best. Not wasting so much effort. The two people inside have experienced a double dose of strong medicine, and each still wants to take down the other, so they will definitely work harder. Mr. Bai, take the second step. Chao Ran and the two left separately. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 447. The two of them got busy. Mr. Bai disappeared immediately. Chao Ran, on the other hand, took advantage of the fact that the cave was remote and it would take time for outsiders to arrive. He set up mazes at several intersections that he had already chosen, ensuring that even if the monks who came after seeing the distress signal arrived, they would only be able to circle around the outside for the time being. 2/4 of an hour later, Mr. Bai came back, bringing with him the unconscious demon sect master Yu Feng. Chao Ran gave him a thumbs up again. Reliable. Without him, Chao Ran could handle everything, but it would never be so easy. Lu Tai's body was used by Mr. Bai to catch Yu Feng. After getting rid of the demon cultivators around Yu Feng, Mr. Bai successfully captured Yu Feng this morning. At that time, Yu Feng found Lu Tai's body and was using his spiritual sense to sense the cause of his death. Unexpectedly, Lu Tai's body exploded and blood and flesh flew everywhere. Yu Feng was unable to dodge and was hit directly. His spiritual sense could not be recovered in time, and was captured and cut off by Mr. Bai. Yu Feng looked at Mr. Bai in horror, but his vision was blurry and he couldn't see Mr. Bai's face clearly. Who are you? The method is more terrifying than. The method is more terrifying than the magic power. Before he finished speaking, he fainted. Yu Feng fell into Mr. Bai's hands. Mr. Bai followed Chao Ran and searched Lu Tai's soul that day, so he could use all the things Lu Tai had. After arriving at Ren Ping's appointment, he arranged the cave according to Ren Ping's requirements. The poison he just threw came from the demon sect, and the method of sealing the cave also came from the demon section. At this moment, Mr. Bai waved the restriction and the cave could be entered. The two of them walked in. There was no movement inside, but they were not surprised at all. It turned out that the drug Mr. Bai threw out was not only for fun, but also completely stunned the two people who were entangled together. Yu Feng was also thrown in. Chao Ran's spiritual power touched Yu Feng's forehead, and Yu Feng woke up faintly. Mr. Bai looked cruel and slapped him on the chest. Yu Feng was stunned and spat out a mouthful of blood. He was seriously injured and fainted again. At this moment, Mr. Bai already looked like Ren Ping. So the scene of Ren Pingfa slapped him hard was deeply engraved in Yu Feng's mind. Chao Ran's spiritual power probed Yu Feng and found that his golden elixir was cracked and that he was missing a ray of spiritual energy. When he woke up, this demon sect master would be a complete waste from body to soul. For a monk, this is worse than death. Demon Lord Yu Xian is so heartbroken that he will never give up. Ren Ping's good days are coming soon. In order to be more realistic, Chao Ran also picked up Ren Ping's sword, used a set of sword techniques that he was best at, and carefully used the sword edges on Yu Feng. Chao Ran kicked Ren Ping away from Yan Yan again with a look of disgust on his face, pulled off the ice muscle on Yan Yan's face, shook it, and applied a cleaning technique before putting it away. She thought that the rent was a bit expensive, but Yan Yan's biggest wish in her life could be considered fulfilled, and Ren Ping would be hers from now on. Chao Ran took another bottle of King Hun powder and gave it to Ren Ping to smell, then he and Mr. Bai exited the cave, and then withdrew the formations near the cave. Less than 100 breaths later, Ren Ping faintly woke up. He had a terrible headache. Seeing that he was naked, he remembered the erotic thing he was doing before. But why did you faint? Lutai, he shouted, cursing in his mind. Seeing the senior sister next to him also lying naked on the ground, his heart softened, and he couldn't help but scold Lutai's medicine for being unreliable. Senior sister, he picked up the senior sister lovingly, then was startled and threw her out. Yan Yan. Why is it her? Where is senior sister Yoon 11? It's about something like yourself, isn't it Yoon 11? It's obviously Yoon 11. How could it be Yan Yan? What went wrong? How could he admit the wrong person? Renping rubbed Yan Yan's face to confirm that he was not dreaming. Looking at Yan Yan's clothing, headgear, and body shape, she is clearly exactly the same as senior sister Yoon 11. For a moment, Renping was furious. Doesn't he understand yet? It was clearly Yan Yan who pretended to be senior sister on purpose. This woman designed herself. After thinking this, he pushed Yan Yan away hard without any pity for her. He jumped up in shock and immediately started to put on his clothes. Just as he kicked Yan Yan, he turned around and suddenly discovered that there was a faint smell of blood in the cave. He took a few steps into the cave, then his legs became weak and he almost knelt. Then, who is that? Yes, it's Yu Feng. Renping's mind was in a state of confusion. He had no idea why this young master from the demon sect was here. Why is there so much blood on his body? What happened? Yu Feng's injury is so serious, and there are only 3 people in this cave. No one can get away with it, right? Where is Lutai? Were they calculated? Or something happened? In a panic, Renping had only one thought: no matter what happened, he had to put himself aside. Now he is no longer favored in Qingyun section. If he offends the demon sect again, he will be desperate. Therefore, you must be clean. He must leave this place of right and wrong quickly. Find Lutai first, you have to find out what happened. He was about to rush out when he suddenly looked back. An evil idea arises, which can allow him to get rid of Yan Yan, and also completely alienate himself. He turned around, put half of Yan Yan's clothes on, and threw her next to Yu Feng. Such and such. Everyone thinks that Yu Feng is cheating on Yan Yan, and when the two fight, both lose. Yan Yan, don't blame me. You forced me. This is what you will end up with because of your plan. Renping quickly left the cave. He had to find Lutai first. If he couldn't find him, he would have to make an alibi. This cave was almost at the southernmost point of the secret realm, so he subconsciously walked north with his sword. But just as his sword flew out, he saw a large group of people approaching. Just as he was about to turn around, someone over there called his name. He was disgusted when he heard that voice. It was definitely Lu Rui. He turned his direction, increased his spiritual power, and speeded up his spiritual sword to leave. But he didn't expect that after only 1 mile out, he saw someone approaching again. If you change the direction again, there are still people. It turned out that as soon as the signal from Tianjian Peak that Renping had set off before was sent out, not only the people from the Qingyun sect, but also the nearby monks who were not far away came over. Now Qingyun sect is the boss of the 8 major sects, and Liu Yun is the future of Qingyun section who dares not to give him face. The people who had been milling around before were now almost all gathered together as the ban was lifted. As a result, Renping, who was running around like a headless fly, was naturally blocked. Renping wanted to run away, but Lu Rui moved so quickly that he had already caught up with him. What's going on? Why did you set off the signal? What happened? Lu Rui is the leader of the Qingyun sect monks on this trip, and he has full authority to manage the actions of the Qingyun sect monks. As soon as his sword came out horizontally, Renping could no longer leave. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 448. Lu Rui never loses control at critical moments. Now he looked carefully and saw that Renping was flustered and guilty. How could he let him go? You set off the flares, right? There are 3 for each person. How many more do you have? Where are you going in a hurry? Why do you keep running when I call you? What happened? Please tell me quickly. Renping's scalp was numb. When he heard it again, there were screams near the cave below. Someone had already seen the scene in the cave. He knew that it was completely impossible for him to deny it when he was caught red-handed. Leaving it clear will only increase your own suspicion. So he had no choice but to bite the bullet. Something happened. It was me who sent the signal. I was chasing someone just now. If you blocked me like this, I'm afraid the person would have run away. Renping looked anxious. Who are you chasing? Lu Rui asked. The person I'm chasing is Momin Lutai. I suspect he has done something shady. Renping felt that at the moment, he could only try to muddy the water. The more people involved, the safer you will be. At this moment, all kinds of things in the cave are unbearable to look at. Who wouldn't be surprised? Indeed, as Renping wished, everyone's first reaction when seeing the situation in the cave was for one party to be disrespectful and the other to fight back. In the end, both sides suffered in a private fight. It's fried. This kind of thing is a bit troublesome. More and more Dao demons are coming from all directions. The identity of young Master Yufeng Momin can no longer be concealed. Everyone was stunned. Between the son of the Demon King and Lu Yun's disciples, this matter is no small matter. If you are not careful, you may cause trouble. For a moment, everyone became cautious. When Lu Rui and Renping rushed to the cave, they were fed medicine by 2 female cultivators. Yan Yan, who had just woken up, was calling senior brother. When she opened her eyes, she saw strangers all around her. And her memory still stayed in the time when her senior brother and she were having sex. Where is my senior brother Renping? Where has he gone? The female nun who helped her clean up shook her head and said she had not seen Renping. Impossible, senior brother and I just. Junior sister, Renping interrupted, and hurriedly pushed aside the outsiders and rushed into the cave to reveal himself. Renping was afraid that Yan Yan would say something harmful to him, so he repeatedly sent messages to tell her to shut up. When Yan Yan saw his senior brother's reaction, his heart trembled, and when he touched his face again, he felt bad. The face was found. Senior brother, what did you do to me? Did I faint? Did you knock me out? Senior brother, I'm sorry, can you listen to my explanation? As soon as Yan Yan asked the 4 questions, everyone, including the demon cultivators surrounding Yufeng, looked at him with serious eyes, and Renping was about to explode. He sent a message, shut up first. Can you hear me? Let's talk about your business and mine later. When Yan Yan was scolded by him, he was stunned and actually shut his mouth. Several demon cultivators have surrounded Renping. Their young master is in very bad condition, his state has declined, his golden elixir has cracked, and he is probably dead. The young master still can't wake up, I'm afraid there are other injuries. This makes them very anxious. The experience in the secret realm turned into an accident. After returning, they did not protect themselves well and none of them could escape punishment. Renping. What's going on? Weapons flashing with various auras were all aimed at Renping. We just said that this cave is weird, but it turns out that you have been here all along. When we came in, the 2 of them were unconscious. In other words, you are the only one who is awake. Are you the one who took the initiative against us? What exactly did you do? Just to put it bluntly, how could Yan Yan seriously injure their young master if his cultivation level was not high? But if it's 2 against 1, and Renping, who has the same level of cultivation as his own young master, can help him, then everything makes sense. Renping quickly hid behind Lu Rui. Lu Rui is presiding over the overall situation, the entire area is blocked and no one is allowed in or out. He sent monks to search the area to see if there was anyone suspicious. All the focus is now on Renping. He knew that Yu Feng's matter was of great importance. He was afraid that someone might want to frame him, so he tried his best to avoid it. Don't talk nonsense. I didn't do anything. I sent out a signal for help as soon as I got here. At that time, it was like this. The two of them were already unconscious. Later, in desperation, Renping could only start to make up. I found that there were people nearby. One was Lu Tai from your demon section. Then I chased him out. In the end, I met a man in black. Later, I met a female cultivator. It seems to be called something Fu. That's nonsense. You keep saying that, but where are those people? Where are they? Several demon cultivators were extremely angry. They have been unable to contact Lu Tai for many days. Today, their team separated because they were looking for Lu Tai. Now that Renping said he had met Lu Tai, they subconsciously began to doubt him. Lu Tai is the young master's arm. If something happened, he would never be without information, and he would never be able to harm the young master. There are many loopholes in what Renping said. Renping was panicked. In fact, he wanted to know where those people were. Okay. But if he said that he was also plotted against and knew nothing about it, would anyone believe him? The yellow mud falls off the crotch, it is either shit or shit. But something worse happened. Several magic cultivators looked at the small wounds on Yu Feng's body and not only suspected that the person who did it was a sword cultivator, but also suspected that it was Renping who did it. They asked Renping to take out the sword for them to compare. In full view of everyone, Lu Rui couldn't protect him, so he directly snatched Renping's sword and went forward to compare it in person. As a result, there was still blood stains on the blade of Renpingling's sword. Before Lu Rui could react here, the demon cultivators over there had a little more spiritual power, and the blood stains gathered and floated directly towards the unconscious Yu Feng. How dare you say that you didn't do anything? There is our young master's blood on your sword, and the sword wounds in our young master's body also match your blade. These wounds are clearly caused by the Tianyi sword technique that you are good at. Brothers, catch me this Renping. It's not me. It's not true. Someone is framing me. Only then did Renping become sure that someone was really coming for him. Tianyi swordsmanship. Senior sister Yun 11 can do it too. He suddenly thought that it was Yun 11 and the female cultivator named Fu who he watched helplessly enter the cave at that time. How could he admit his mistake? So it was really He Yongzi at that time. I didn't admit the wrong person. It was indeed senior sister who came. The person I slept with was also my senior sister. Later, the senior sister woke up and became furious and knocked herself out, and then got the junior sister to fool her and take revenge. That Yu Feng should have followed Lu Tai to see the situation, but he discovered the scandal about his senior sister. When the senior sister got angry, she planned to silence her, so she injured Yu Feng and framed herself. Renping came up with a story in an instant. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this was the truth. Yes, there is also my senior sister. When I arrived at the cave, I also saw my senior sister. My senior sister also knows Tianyi swordsmanship. She came with that female cultivator named Fu. They even started fighting with Lu Tai. The cave was filled with smoke at that time, and I wasn't very awake. This is what I looked like when I woke up. I really didn't lie. I can swear. Renping's mind always works very fast when he gets bad thoughts. Now, isn't this a good opportunity to step on He Yongzi? It's good to be successful. Even if it fails, it will not be a loss. It's not to die together, but to pull He Yongzi along. The sect and master will not give up on him easily, and will definitely help fish him out. So Renping immediately sent a message to Yan Yan, who was dumbfounded. Yan Yan's thoughts are much simpler. She wished she could strangle He Yongzi to death. When such a good opportunity arose, she was already hesitating whether to step on him before his senior brother opened his mouth. So, she immediately responded. Yes. I saw my senior sister before I fainted. I don't know what happened, but my senior sister must have been there at that time. The Tianyi sword technique may have been used by my senior sister. I'm afraid she was also responsible for the injury. Renping, I swear, I saw senior sister Yun 11. I'm afraid only she knows what happened in this cave. They lied. At this time, a cold male voice interrupted Renping's oath. Fairy Yun 11 of the King Yun sect met half an hour ago. We fought for the spiritual grass together, and then we saw the purple signal flare. Fairy Yun 11 and I came to the rescue together. Everyone followed the sound, and in the crowd, Yun 11 and a sword sect monk walked out together. The person who spoke was none other than Jian's own Menu. If it is said that Lu Rui is now helping Yun 11 testify, everyone may not be convinced yet. But no one knew that Menu was also a genius disciple of the sword sect, and he had no reason to lie for He Yongzi. So obviously, the only one who lied was Renping. Mr. Bai, who had already returned to Menu's attire, said again, Fairy Yongzi and I arrived nearby 2/4 of an hour ago, but there seemed to be a formation here. The two of us kept spinning in circles, busy breaking the formation. Then suddenly the formation disappeared. We met some members of the Wuji section. On the other side, several people from the Wuji sect nodded repeatedly, indicating that this place was indeed strange. They had met Yun 11 Menu not long ago. Renping was stunned again. How can it be? Did he miscalculate again? Why would someone from the sword sect come out to testify for He Yongzi? That guy from the sword sect is still a new face, so there's no way he could lie for her. Here, Renping and Yan Yan were still puzzled, but Tao Ran flashed out of the way and slapped Renping and Yan Yan's faces one after another, and then showed anger on their faces. You are shameless, and you don't care about the sect at all. It's just a simple matter. You two were having an affair when Yu Feng discovered it, and you just wanted to kill people and silence others, right? Then he failed to escape and was brought back. Seeing that he was about to be exposed, what kind of demon cultivator Lutai, what kind of fairy Fu, what kind of man in black, and me? Renping, if you dare to hurt anyone, you must be held responsible. If you are innocent, why lie? If you are clean, why run away? If you are innocent, why did you frame me? Tao Ran's words made most people present nod their heads. Everyone has a judgment, and indeed they all think so. It's obviously just a simple affair to silence, so why involve so many people? Tao Ran clasped his fists at several demon cultivators. In front of so many people, as the senior sister of Tianjian Peak, I am standing here to express my position. As long as it is found out that this matter is really related to my junior brother, I, He Yongzi, and Tianjian Peak will never show favoritism. What should I do? No matter what, I must give an explanation to your sect and the Demon Lord. However, I would like to express my position on behalf of Tianjian Peak. This matter seems to be a personal grudge. Renping's position does not represent the position of Tianjian Peak and King Yun section. I also hope that your sect will not blame our sect for this. Renping. Yun 11's attitude was good, and all the demon cultivators also took a step back. With Fairy Yun 11's words, it will be much easier to handle. There are just 2 days until the end of the secret realm. I hope that your sect can hand over Renping to our sect by then to cooperate with the investigation. Nature. Renping cried out that he was wronged and said that he absolutely did not harm Yu Feng. Can't you see, he cried. He pointed at Yu Feng and Yan Yan, these two people are disheveled. It was clearly Yu Feng who did something to Yan Yan, and Yan Yan became angry. The senior sister didn't help, and Renping jumped over the wall in a hurry, so he could only ask the junior sister to support him. "Senior brother, what did you say?" Yan Yan was dumbfounded again. She has been so obedient, she never expected that her senior brother would say such things. "Did senior brother do that with me? Didn't he count? How can you be so heartless?" Now, in order to escape, he didn't even care about her reputation and put her together with that demon cultivator? So what are all her efforts for? Then won't she never be able to be with her senior brother again? Yan Yan couldn't accept it. Even at this moment, the senior brother was still sending messages to her, asking her to obey, saying that he would marry her in the future. But is she really stupid? Yan Yan directly raised a picture stone. Since she had made up her mind to plot against her senior brother, how could she not make preparations? She had known that it would not be easy to tie up her senior brother, so she left evidence to ask Master for help. Now she only has one thought: in front of everyone, she must be bound to her senior brother. In the photo stone, it is the scene where Renping pounces on Yan Yan. That coveted look was exposed in front of everyone. Tisk tisk. Everyone present laughed or sneered, but they were not surprised by what they saw. Sure enough, Fairy Yungzi's guesses were all true. The ones who have an affair are not Yan Yan and Yufeng, but Yan Yan and Renping. Renping was completely dumbfounded. He only knew that he was being plotted, but he had no idea who was plotting against him and what kind of messy design he was plotting against. He was still muttering unjustly accused, but he couldn't produce any evidence. But 4 more hammers came. For the first time, I came to report that I had searched hundreds of miles around and there was no Lutai at all. Renping kept saying that Lutai ran away, but he just ran away. How could he not be heard from? How could the demon cultivators not even be able to contact him? It can be seen that this argument is not valid. The second time, someone in the crowd got a list of all the people in the secret realm. There was no such fragrant female cultivator as Renping mentioned on it. It can be seen that Renping lied again. Yan Yan opened her mouth when she heard this. She was the one who brought Baofu, but she was afraid of getting involved in deeper dirty water, and was afraid that her senior brother would double blame her, so she didn't dare to question it. Renping was stupid again. So he saw ghosts again and again? The demon cultivator struck again. The lining of Yufeng's cassock was found with the word written in blood. This matter was actually done by Chaoran and Mr. Bai, but everyone present believed that this was still directed at Renping. It was also at this time that Yufeng's follower Mo Xiu discovered the most important point. Several of Yufeng's storage rings are missing. Several demon cultivators drew their demonic energy, and saw Renping spurting out a mouthful of blood. It can be seen that the magic door consciousness of Yufeng's storage ring has not been erased, and the thing is on Renping's body. Tao Ran and Lu Rui cooperated and searched Renping directly. In full view of everyone, Yufeng's storage ring was found in Renping's storage ring. At this moment, Renping was so wrong that he wanted to laugh. He was surrounded by dozens of weapons. What else can you say? So many people have testified and physical evidence points to you murdering our young master. Renping, you can't escape. Pay with blood. 2 chapters in 1. I wish you all a happy Mid-Autumn Festival and a happy family. Comparison. There will be a banquet for 12 people at home tomorrow, so I'm taking a day off. Love you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 449. For the next 2 days, Renping was imprisoned and under the supervision of the demon sect. No one cares about what Renping says anymore. Someone will criticize him after he goes out. The secret realm is closed and everyone is teleported back to the secret realm square. Everyone, including Renping, Lu Rui, and the demon cultivators, immediately began to look for Lu Tai's figure in the teleported crowd, so no one noticed that there was one less person coming out of the Qingyun sect. Everyone searched hard, but unfortunately, there was no Lu Tai. The secret realm has been closed, and everyone knows that in this situation, Lu Tai may die. Then they were told that the demon sect had already sent news that Lu Tai and his men had extinguished the soul lamp many days ago. As soon as he said these words, Renping was knocked to the ground by the spiritual light from the demon cultivators almost at the same time. Lu Tai has been dead for many days, which proves Renping's lies. He said he saw Lu Tai, that Lu Tai ran away and he chased him, and that he suspected Lu Tai had done something shady. There was no truth at all. Demon Lord Yuxian never expected that his son would be carried out in a coma. When he saw that his son had been maliciously hurt by someone, he was furious. Even if he ordered his son to wake up, everyone should not leave until he woke up so that they could bear witness. Under the joint treatment of several leaders, Yu Feng woke up, but his expression was dull and he couldn't even speak clearly. Yu Xian was so angry that he used a secret method to regain his son's consciousness. As expected, his son pointed his hand directly at Renping, with strong hatred bursting out of his eyes. It's him. He hurt me. With the combination of personal and physical evidence and the victim's accusations, Renping's denial, no matter how conclusive, seems so hollow. Renping, we must deal with it, Yu Xian gritted his teeth and said decisively. Facing Nian Bai, he was full of confidence and his attitude was particularly tough. Maybe others couldn't understand the reason why Renping severely injured Yu Feng, but not Yu Xian. As soon as this incident came out, he found Renping's motive. Renping was a pawn of his Qingyun section. In order to make Renping obedient, he had long recognized Renping as his adopted son in private. At this moment, Renping is feeling depressed in Qingyun sect and inevitably wants to return to the demon section. However, if Renping wants to fulfill his ambition in the demon sect and obtain his true inheritance, his son Yu Feng, is he not a roadblock in front of Renping? Yu Xian had wild imaginations and thought that for Renping, if he got rid of his son, he would be considered the young master of the demon sect, right? So he acted cruelly. He designed to lure out his son, and then worked together with Yan Yan to destroy his son. He did not dare to kill his son, so he ruined his son's future. He was afraid that his son would expose him, and also cut off his son's sanity. I'm afraid that Lu Tai found out that he had different intentions, so he silenced him early. In this way, everyone is on the same page. Yu Xian received the news after Lu Tai's soul lamp was extinguished, saying that Lu Tai's soul could not be transcended and was already gone. This kid Lu Tai has no enemies. Who would be so cruel to him? Lu Tai's biggest task in the secret realm is to contact Renping. Who else could it be besides Renping? So at this time, Yu Xian had already completely concluded that Renping had harmed his son. When Chao Ran, who was mixed in the crowd, saw this, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. From that day when Lu Tai quickly mentioned that Renping was the adopted son of the demon lord, she smiled and gave such a strong motive to Renping directly. As a result, no one in the world would believe him. He can no longer rely on the sect that he has repeatedly used in the plot, and he cannot reach the demon sect that has been secretly supporting him in the plot. This is equivalent to cutting off both his black and white paths at the same time. A bereaved dog who had been abandoned by his family and had no one to rely on, it was also a gift given to him by Chao Ran. She wanted him to taste the bitter pill. For the arrogant Renping, this would be a torture comparable to hell. If Yu Xian hadn't been pulled by the guardians to warn the demon sect that they were not as powerful as the Qingyun sect and that instead of resisting, it would be better to think about it in the long term, he could only wish to rush forward right now and skin and bones the white-eyed wolf Renping and beat him to pieces. He only has one son. Now my son's golden elixir is gone and his soul is still injured. This is completely ruined. If King Yun sect doesn't give a satisfactory explanation, I will never give up. On the other side, Nian Bai has long been suspicious of Renping, so he has already given up on Renping. Everyone is talking about it now. Lu Rui has just seen the photo stone of Renping and Mo Xiu Lu Tai's private opinion in his hand, and he is even more decisive. Don't worry, brother Yu, the King Yun sect will never be partial. Renping was indeed at fault for having a private fight with the noble master and seriously injuring the noble master. After everyone's testimony, we know that he also concealed it many times, showed no responsibility, and even framed his fellow section even if Renping he still refused to admit it, but the facts were in front of him and he couldn't argue. I was really ashamed. Renping makes mistakes. He ruined your young master's future, and as punishment, I abolished his cultivation. And if he does such evil things, King Yun sect can no longer tolerate him. From now on, Renping is no longer Liu Yun's disciple, nor is he a member of King Yun sect. The King Yun sect failed to take good care of Renping, and is willing to provide some compensation to help your noble son recover as soon as possible. In front of everyone, what do you think? Among the disciples of the sect, Renping has very good qualifications, and he was once the envy of many people. Now the leaders of the 8 major sects are saying that they want to abolish his cultivation, which is equivalent to ending his future. And his reputation was ruined, and no sect dared to accommodate him. He lost the protection of the sect and offended the demon section. From now on, let alone cultivation, it will be difficult to escape. So I'm afraid he is not as good as Yu Feng, and will be in dire straits from now on. Many people are lamenting that a proud man of a generation has set back his career and ended up in such a predicament. And this is what Cao Ran wants. Renping was finally completely separated from the section. He no longer had to worry about his rebellion, no longer had to guard against him doing evil, and no longer had to worry about him deceiving his master and destroying his ancestors, and taking advantage of his master and the section. Renping's handling was done by Lu Yun himself in public. Although Lu Yun values love, when it comes to major issues of right and wrong and fellow sex, his attitude has always been very firm. Faced with Renping kneeling down and begging for mercy, he remained unmoved. When Yan Yan came to plead for Renping, Lu Yun became irritated. He waved Yan Yan away and glared at her. Yan Yan was actually frightened. This was the first time she saw her master's eyes so cold. She broke out in a cold sweat, and then she remembered that she had an affair with her senior brother, stepped on her senior sister, and had 3 doubts that were difficult to clean up. She was also a clay Buddha crossing the river. After Lu Yun directly deposed Renping's cultivation, he announced that Renping would be expelled from King Yun sect. After all, he has feelings. Lu Yun asked Yu Xian to spare his life because Renping had been punished. Yu Xian agreed. He didn't want to kill Renping. His son was suffering, how could he let Renping die so happily? Renping lost all his spiritual power in an instant and fell to the ground, feeling that his life was gloomy and there was no way to survive. He asked Yun 11 for help, but Yun 11's eyes were cold, exactly like his master's. He could only stare directly at Yan Yan for the first time in his life. Yan Yan may be the biggest helper to help him survive. After Lu Yun dealt with Renping, he also set his sights on Yan Yan. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 450. 2 Roads. Liu Yun still gave Yan Yan a choice. He was both regretful and disappointed. He never taught these 2 evil disciples well. He is at fault. First, you and Renping get married, and I will arrange a place for you to go. Second, you and Renping are done with each other, but from now on you can only stay in the outer sect of King Yun sect and concentrate on your cultivation. No, Yan Yan refused without saying a word. How could she accept it? Why is she working so hard? Just to become the woman who stands tallest. Although she truly loves her senior brother, he has no future. Doesn't she want to lose face? The current senior brother is just like a mortal and is no longer worthy of her. Go to the outer door? She doesn't want it even more. She is a beautiful girl from heaven, how could she hang out with the lowest and lowest monks to compete for resources? It would be better to die than live like that. Master, have you forgotten how you promised my father? Liu Yun had been coerced by this kindness for many years, which led him to make mistakes again and again. Now that this kindness was mentioned again, he just felt angry. If it weren't for the fact that I promised your father to take care of you, you, like Renping, would have been expelled from the Qingyun sect by me at this moment. I am willing to promise to take care of you, and I am willing to continue to take you in, all because I value the word love. Willing to repay the favor. I don't want it. I would rather not want this kind of kindness. Yan Yan stood up from her knees. I am willing to leave Qingyun section, you don't need to worry about my future. The relationship between master and disciple ends here. She had been dissatisfied with Liu Yun for too long. She had never looked down on Liu Yun's so-called care. It's okay not to have this kind of hypocritical affection. Liu Yun nodded. Although he had mixed feelings in his heart, he also felt relieved. I have done my best, I hope you will not regret it. If you need anything. No need. I don't need anything. Lu Yun nodded, went to Yu Xian's place again, and gave him 2 boxes of tonics as an apology to Yu Feng, and then he returned to the section. Tao Ran was speechless at what Yan Yan did. Yan Yan always seems to be in a daze. She has reached this point, but she still can't recognize the reality, and she still doesn't want to keep her feet on the ground. She still thinks that she is a fairy who descends from heaven to earth, and she should be held in high esteem everywhere. Without the protection of the sect, she would be like a lost dog and would suffer a lot. Nian Bai once again reiterated to Yu Xian that he hoped he would not kill Renping and Yan Yan. Yu Xian responded again. On the surface, he would naturally not give face, but privately, he. Everyone dispersed, leaving only Renping and Yan Yan. Renping hugged Yan Yan tightly and said that he had nothing left. From now on, he would only have her and he would always be with her. At this moment, Yan Yan didn't feel moved. She suddenly realized that she didn't seem to love her senior brother that much anymore. Renping began to curse Lu Yun and Zhang Men. He was wronged. He was not wrong in anything, but he was harmed to this point by the master and the sect who turned their elbows outward. How could he not hate it? Since there was nothing left anyway, he naturally had no scruples. He directly cursed and denounced Qingyun sect for treating him unfairly. Yan Yan soon joined in the scolding, and the two finally found a common topic again. The two people who were filled with righteous indignation never thought that if Lu Yun and Nian Bai really didn't care about love at all, they would have checked their resources and taken back the things equipped by their sect. But Lu Yun and Nian Bai didn't even take away the share of what they earned from the secret realm that was supposed to be handed over to the section. In fact, they were given a large sum of money to guarantee their survival. Of course, the two people who were complaining could not imagine this at all. Yan Yan originally planned to leave alone. But firstly, she had nowhere to go, secondly, she needed some spiritual sustenance at this time, and thirdly, Renping managed to persuade her with his sharp tongue. Therefore, Yan Yan took Renping and left. Together, the two planned to go to Jianzhong to ask for help from Fairy Hongling. Both of them felt that Hongling should help. Especially for Renping, his plot against Yun 11 in the secret realm was originally inspired by Hongling. Now that something happened to him, there is no reason why Hongling could just ignore it and ignore it. Help me recover my cultivation, otherwise I will make it public that you helped me escape from the sect's hole of thought and used me to set up my senior sister. This was Renping's request. Hongling was frightened. Renping and Yan Yan have become a thorn in the side of the demon section now that they are looking for him, at least he will be mistaken for being in cahoots with them, and at worst the sword sect will also be dragged into the water. In addition, if this matter reaches Lu Yun, the matter between her and Lu Yun will no longer be possible. So Hong Ling personally drew the sword, thinking that it would be safest to kill people and silence them without stopping. She is a nascent soul, and the two opposite her are a Jindan and a cripple. How can she be her opponent? Hong Ling took action without hesitation. Nascent soul's full strength struck out, and logically, those two people couldn't dodge at all. It's just that those two are not fools. If they dare to come to the door, they have already prepared the sword talisman and grabbed it in their hands. After all, these two people were once Liu Yun's disciples, and they had many life-saving talismans and spiritual weapons in their hands. Seeing that Hong Ling showed no mercy, the two of them were frightened and threw out Liu Yun's God Transformation sword talisman. If Hong Ling's blow was overwhelming, then Liu Yun's full blow was devastating. After all, it was a huge difference in realm. Even though Hong Ling hurriedly threw out a large pile of amulets, she still couldn't escape being seriously injured and fell to the ground, spurting blood on the spot. Ji Yuan came with a feeling, and Renping and the others quickly ran away. Renping kept doing nothing and asked someone to send a picture stone to Ji Yuan's hand. Engraved on the photo stone is an image of Hong Ling instructing Renping to deal with He Yungzi. It turned out that the shrewd Renping had been prepared to burn the bridge by crossing the river early in the morning, leaving behind a clue. So now that he asked Ji Yuan to help him privately, he would keep the matter a secret. But Renping still misjudged Ji Yuan. He never expected that Ji Yuan would take the initiative to go to King Yun sect to apologize and confess about Hong Ling. Not only did the King Yun sect not blame him, but He Yungzi also had no reaction. Ren and Ping became angry and wanted to take revenge. Therefore, the two of them, with an attitude of mutual destruction, simply spread Hong Ling's various plots against He Yungzi, and also spread the news that the person who hooked up with Hong Ling in Chaoyang City that day was Ren Ping. Of course, the photo jade was also copied in large quantities and thrown away in the market. In this way, not only did Hong Ling's reputation fall into disrepute, but the demon sect also sent a message to Jianzong asking about the relationship between Hong Ling and Renping. While denying it, old man Ji Yuan was anxious to clear up the relationship between his daughter and Renping through actions. He even announced that his daughter Hong Ling had already been married to his disciple. In this way, Hong Ling's marriage was decided, just like in the plot, with no choice. However, Renping Jianyan's move also angered Jianzong. From that day on, there was another sword sect who wanted to make life worse than death. Mo Men kept his promise, so he did not take any action against Renping in the first month after he promised to spare Renping's life. But in the second month, Yu Feng, who fully woke up, was still sluggish, and Yu Xian became even more furious. He began to let his disciples hunt down Renping. I only promised not to kill him, but I didn't say not to torture him.